All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to now get into talking about the Texans losing a tough one to the Tennessee Titans, dropping to 7-5 on the season. And yeah, they just don't look right. They don't look right, especially C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud has struggled this year, has not looked like the same quarterback from 2023, his rookie season. Right now, last year he averaged 274 passing yards per game. He had 23 touchdowns to 5 picks. This year, he's averaging 239 passing yards per game. He's got 14 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So the touchdowns are down, the interceptions are up. And it's a sophomore slump. It's a sophomore slump. I still think he's good, but he's got to play better. Those 2 picks were not good. Also, it doesn't help. The offensive line has not been good either. But ultimately, he's got to play better. And he also pulled a Dan Orlovsky / Jimmy Garoppolo. He ran out of bounds. He got sacked he ran out of bounds and got sacked. But either way, it was going to be a safety. And that was towards the end of the game. That's why the Titans got an extra 2 points there. But also the Texans defense didn't really play that well either. Tony Pollard had a good game, 24 carries, 119 yards, and a touchdown. Will Levis made some good plays. Okonkwo, the tight end, had a wide open touchdown. He had 1 reception for 70 yards, and that was for the touchdown. Will Levis went 18 to 24 for 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He was the quarterback that was sacked 8 times. But the Texans don't look right as a team. Like I said, Stroud's struggling. Joe Mixon really couldn't get anything going on the ground. The Titans defense did a nice job at containing him. He only had 14 carries for only 22 yards. Also, it didn't help that late in the game, and this is the second straight week that this has happened, Nico Collins had a touchdown that ended up getting called back. He did have a touchdown in this game, but he could have had 2. One of them ended up getting called back, and I'm trying to think where that ended up happening. It was in the second half. Oh yeah, so it was on this drive. So the Texans were down by 3. And they get down to so you had Dalton Schultz, 16-yard reception. They get down to the Titans' 33-yard line. Nico Collins scores from 33 yards out, but then the touchdown ends up getting called back. And if it wasn't for that, I probably end up winning one of the matchups that I ended up losing in fantasy. So yeah, they get down to the Titans' 10. This is a chip shot field goal for Fairbairn, who's been great this year, and he ends up missing it. And the Titans get the ball, they punt, and then there ends up being a safety. And Titans end up winning. Texans actually, their first drive, you had a big kick return by Dameon Pierce, and then C.J. Stroud on the first play of the drive connects with Stover for the touchdown. So you thought, all right, here come the Texans. But then the Titans, they score on their first 3 drives, a field goal, a touchdown. The touchdown was to Westbrook-Akine, who's been coming on these last few weeks. Been getting more of an opportunity. Then they scored again. That was the Pollard touchdown. But, just not good, not good. Will Levis actually threw a pick 6 in this game. So, I mean, kind of more so blame it on, Stroud with the couple of interceptions that he had. Because the Texans, you had a pick 6, you had, you had a fumble recovery, you had 8 sacks. I mean, the Texans defense, was opportunistic in this game, but, Stroud, those 2 picks were not good. And they led to points. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. This team has a lot of talent, but they just don't look right. And, you got some tough games coming up later in the season. You also got Jacksonville this week. And, you should be able to beat them, but, it's a divisional game. And they're fortunate that they play in the AFC South because, the Titans aren't going anywhere. The Jaguars aren't going anywhere. The Texans would really have to have a monumental collapse to lose the division. You also have to have a team that steps up, and I just don't really see any of the other teams stepping up. But then again, last year at this point, thought the Jaguars, had the division. They were going to win it pretty easily, and that ended up not happening. So who knows? Could it be the Colts? The Colts are 2 games back. And then you got the Titans, who are 3.5 games back. The Texans play the Titans again in Nashville at the end of the year. I don't know. I think the Texans will at least get the division, but they could be an early round exit. But, you got the Dolphins coming up. You got the Chiefs. You got the Ravens. That's some tough games coming up on the schedule. So, they could be looking at 9 wins. I think I had this team winning 12 games this year. But, yeah, not looking like it right now. They got off to a good start. They were 5-1, but since then, 2-4. Now, they lost to the Packers on that game-winning field goal. They lost to the Jets. They had a big lead against the Lions. They lost that. Titans game they could have very easily won. The games that they've lost, other than the Vikings game, were all close. But, you got the Dolphins, who are looking good right now. You're going to be playing in Arrowhead, which is not going to be easy. And then you got the Ravens. So that 3-game stretch is really going to tell us what the Texans are made of. So hopefully they could turn it around. But give the Titans credit. That's a team that's battled. Will Levis has definitely looked better these last few weeks. Maybe gives himself more time. We'll see now how he finishes out the year. They do have a pretty light schedule to finish the year. They play the Commanders, who aren't playing great as of late. I think he could play well in that game. The Jaguars, the Bengals, who don't have a good defense, the Colts, and then you got the Texans again at home. He could definitely finish the season strong, I think, if he continues to play like how he's been playing. Calvin Ridley's been getting the ball more. Like I said, Westbrook-Akine has been making plays for them, scoring touchdowns these last few weeks. So, we'll see what happens. But the bigger thing here is the Texans, because this is a team that I thought would be dangerous. And I thought this team had the potential to maybe knock off the Chiefs. But they're not playing like that right now. The turnovers by C.J.Stroud are concerning. Joe Mixon, had his worst game of the year, but it's going to happen. He's not going to be great every single week. He's coming off of a game where he scored 3 touchdowns. So it's going to happen. But missed opportunities and costly penalties, that's the second straight week, like I said, that Nico Collins had a touchdown that got called back. So, Texans got to be smarter there. But I think this is still a good team. They just got to figure some things out right now. And like I said, there's got to be a team that steps up in the AFC South that could overtake them. Right now, there's really not a team that's in that division that I see doing it. Closest is the Colts. But even then, don't see it happening. The Texans are 2-0 against them. I don't see the Jaguars are not going to go on a run. The Titans, I don't really see it either. They're going to get in, the Texans. But how far they go remains to be seen. Right now, it doesn't look like they will. Because you look at some of these other teams right now, the Ravens are better. They did beat the Bills early on, but we'll see what happens if they have to play each other again. Could be the Texans having to go to Buffalo, which I don't see them winning that game. And then, the Chiefs offensively are not, still not clicking. But, I mean, Mahomes is playing a little bit better. But still, the Chiefs just, I don't know. They look off right now. But I still think, if C.J.Stroud and the Texans have to go to Arrowhead, I don't think they're winning. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, if they win the division, they host a playoff game, and we'll see who they end up matching up against. But it just does not look good right now for the Texans. And they had a lot of expectations going into the year, and as of late, they've been kind of disappointing after a strong start. So, let me know what you guys think, though, about the Texans, about this game. What were your takeaways from it? Again, got to give props to the Titans for still competing, still fighting. Got to give credit to some of those teams that are doing that in general, not just the Titans, because the Giants are a team that is not being competitive. So, I know I brought that up yesterday, but I'm bringing it up again. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this game. What were your takeaways from it? Let me know in the comments. So, we're going to take our next break. And then when we come back, we will talk about the other team in New York, and that is the New York Jets. We're going to talk about a few things. We'll talk about how they plan on attacking the search for a new head coach and GM. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers and his future, because we got a little bit more clarity on that. And some other stuff as well I wanted to talk about and give my thoughts on it. So, yeah, this will be a Jets topic. Get into all that when we come back from our next break. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.